within your entire collection, what is like what is your pride and joy game that you have, like the art cover wise? Like which one's probably your favorite?
It's a very good question. Yeah,
All the time you need, by the way.
No, I know. I know it's gonna seem like a cop out, but I really like the Super Blood Hockey cover, and the only reason I say that is because the chiptunist who did the music is a comic book artist, and that's his work. So his name's Sean Daly, and I just love that style. Like I don't see comic book covers on video games, and it's probably just. I mean, here I'll just show it again because I really love it. But like, just this is just like awesome. Like to me, that's a comic book right there. And I love his art style. Like, I backed his books. I'm a fan of his work. So to me, I really like that. I will say I do like the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition cover. I like the scope of that. And the same thing with Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like the European cover is, I believe, the one where he's standing at like the top and he's like looking out at like the landscape. And it was different than the US cover where he was climbing, I believe. Unless I have it reversed. I have to check. But I like those covers. I kind of like that they have scopes to them. I've always been a fan of that, but I have to look and see like what else, because I know there's other covers that I'll get a game and it's like, this looks so cool, and I just, top of my head, I just can't think about it right now.
What's your day job? What do you do on just?
Yeah, I'm a marketing specialist for a chemical company, so I run reports, which is really what it is, and I'll look at market segments and I'll help. Like my role is a little bit more of sales support also. So whatever tasks they have, I'll help them with. But it really is a lot of data reporting, data gathering. It's nothing as exciting as, just anything video game related that I enjoy doing. But it's been, a job that I've been at for many years. It's a great company that I work for. They put me through school. They've done a lot. But it's just, ultimately, it's just not what my passion is. I'm just not passionate about chemicals. I wish I was. I'm just not. I'm more passionate about video games. So this is where, like, this comes in handy, where I'm actually able to find time to work towards that concurrently. So, hopefully the day job keeps supporting what, our lives and whatnot. It helps support, the company. And then little by little, the company kind of takes over. And hopefully that's what I can transition to in the future. But yeah, my job during the day is kind of boring, but it's a job. So I'm appreciative.
Work is work.
Work is work. Yep, exactly. That's why we have passions outside of work and things that's why I have no problem being up till 2 a.m. talking about the Switch, because I really love it. And people sometimes probably don't understand, like, why am I looking at Amazon 20 times a day and GameStop and Best Buy, because I love knowing what's coming out. I love being able to share that, get excited when a new game gets announced. I love being part of like that initial rush of when a company announces something and I can share it and we all start talking about it, and that's where the passion is. So it's just been, to me, that's perfectly fine, and it kind of helps counterbalance my day job, so it all works out.
You're saying you play games with your kids and stuff like that, or
yeah?
What games are you guys currently playing?
That's funny. My son I started getting him into gaming when he was 3, so we started with Paw Patrol, and it was the first one on the Switch. To me, I recommend that to anybody that has little kids that want to play games, because to me, you can't die in the game. It's left to right. As long as, even if they don't understand or letters yet, you can help them with the simple puzzles where it's like, okay, pick this object that will help you get to like the second half of the level. And then once, he learned his letters, he could do it himself because he would know. But he was able to play that, and it's, the sense of accomplishment that he can beat the level. You really can't lose, so you'll get to the end. And then, over the next 2 years, he got into Animal Crossing when it came out. He started playing with my wife, and she, ironically, she's not into gaming at all. Right, I am. She's barely not, and she got Animal Crossing to play with her sister. So my son started playing Animal Crossing with her, and he learned how to fish in that game, and that's all he would do. He would just run around and fish like 24 hours a day whenever he played it. And he would redecorate the rooms. He'd put fish in the fish tanks, and he just loved Animal Crossing, and he really got into it. And then out of nowhere, although I like to say that I really pushed him towards it, he got into Mario. And he started with, the NES Mario on the NES, like Switch Online, like download thing that they have with all the games. But he just started playing that. I would play it at first because it was too hard for him. And then little by little, he would start, jumping over the gaps, jumping on the Goombas, getting to the end of the level. And before I knew it, He played New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe on his own. He played Mario 3D World on his own. And with those games, it's nice because they do have like the easy mode where you can kind of get like the power up that makes you invincible. So you can still get through the level, but he's getting through the levels. Like, it's not easy even if you're invincible, because you've got like lava and you got all those things, but he just loves Mario. And with him, we played Odyssey together, we played Luigi's Mansion 3 together, we played the New Super Mario Brothers, we played Mario World, Mario 3, which he loves, and he's just going through the whole catalog. And what's crazy is that through that online shop, he knows how to get into the system. So he has his Switch, he gets into Mario 3 or Mario 1, and then all of a sudden I started seeing him play Donkey Kong Country on the SNES. I started seeing him play Kirby, Metroid, the NES Metroid. This kid's playing and actually progressing. I can't even do that. Like, I don't understand like how he learned those type of games, but he's teaching himself on his own, and he's absolutely loving the system. So it's just been a blast to play with him, because he'll be like, oh, can we play? Like, he knew 3D World was coming out. I showed him the video when it premiered. We marked it on the calendar, and he's like, oh, I want to play it with you. I want to beat the game with you. So we get it. We play Bowser's Fury the first night. He wanted to play as, Bowser Jr. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, can I play 3D World? I was like, yeah, you could try. And then before I know it, he's like, okay, I need you to play the final level with me and help me beat it. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, we were supposed to play this together. He's like, yeah, I want to beat the game with you. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to play the whole game with you, not just beat the end. and he's beaten the game 2 times now. He's played it, and what's crazy is he found, and you may have seen it, but there's like a way to take a shell and like bounce it back and forth, and I think you jump on it and you get an extra life. And he's maxed it out, and I'm like, how did you know how to do that? He's like, oh, you showed me a video once. I don't even remember showing him. I'm like, if I showed you a video, it must have been like some kind of like quick thing, but to even know where it was, like, he found out where it was in the game and did it, and it's just insane. And he played Captain Toad on his own. Like 95% of it he played on his own, and then he'd have me do like the boss level. But like, he became a gamer, and he's so good at it, and he enjoys it, and it's been fun watching him really just grow into just like loving these characters. And now everything is Mario. He's got a little Bowser plus, Bowser Jr. plus, a little Goomba. Like, his birthday theme was Mario, and it's just like, yeah, I got a gamer. And now my 3-year-old daughter is watching us, and she's like, she's starting to get interested a little. So I'm like, I think I could get a second gamer in the house. But it's I will say, like, it's a completely different experience playing with kids and watching them enjoy the games, even games that you played growing up, because it's like it's a different feeling when you're watching them succeed at like finishing the level or finding the hidden power up and things like that. And then he's getting he's trying to get you excited, like, oh yeah, watch me do this. Like, playing Mario Odyssey with him was very different playing than when I played it by myself. And yeah, it's great. Like, that's why I love Nintendo. Like, it's very, very kid friendly. There's so many games for them, and it's been fun watching him play. And good timing too, because the Switch is my favorite system, and I think I'm gonna make it his also. So yeah, it's fun. It's funny, like, so the publisher is Outright Games, and they've done Gigantosaurus, they've done Paw Patrol, they've done, I'd have to pull their games, but they do a lot of like kid-friendly games, games based on like property, like, like kid IPs and whatnot. But to me, like, they're all so appropriate for kids, like, for his age. And then even like when I see people going like, wow, they're putting out another one of these games, and I'm like, well, you're not the intended audience. And I actually have the audience at home who loves the game. Like, Gigantosaurus was one of the first open world platforming games that he played, because you could kind of go anywhere. You can either collect the eggs, or you could do go-karting, you can go to this area here, you could travel to different places. And like, I remember starting out playing it with him, and by the end he was playing it and he was really good. Like, he almost 100% of the game. There's a lot of like post-game stuff to do, and I was like, this game is great. And they also did Ice Age, the Scrat's Nutty Adventure game, and he was really liking that. And to me, that's exactly who those games are made for, and they served their purpose. He had a lot of fun, and it taught him how to game. Like, that's what's, and then I bring him into Mario, and it's like, okay, now you can play these ones, and now he just absolutely loves them. And what the craziest thing is, he actually taught me something in Mario 3 that I never knew, and no idea how he did this, but I want to say this may have been like level World 5, which is like the ice world. But I'm in a cave and I'm jumping out of the cave, right? And all of a sudden he's like, wait, go back and jump on the left-hand side of like the opening. And I was like, why? He's like, there's a secret power up. And I jumped and it like a block appeared and it was like a mushroom or whatever. But I'm like, how'd you know that? He's like, oh, I did it once. And I'm like, I've been playing this game like a long time. I've never known that. And it's just, to me, that was just like, oh man, he's starting to like kind of jump ahead of me and he's only 5 and that's not good. But no, it's it's fun watching him play. But then I have to be the dad. I'm like, you played enough. Like, you need to turn it off now. And then, he's like, one more minute. I just need this one more. I just want to get the boomerang in Mario 3D World. And I'm like, you got to put it to sleep now. And he, I'm just like, oh man, I feel horrible on one hand being that guy. And on the other hand, I'm like, oh, you gotta, like, he needs boundaries. And then he goes to bed and, I'll just turn it on and start playing.
Oh man, that's funny.
I feel bad though. I'm like, the games that I'm gonna help publish, like I want them to be games he can play, and I'm like, I can't really have you play Super Blood Hockey right now. I could turn it off, but it's probably still a little violent. But he did try Awesome P, which was a little hard because it's like the one-hit death, but infinite retries. And it's definitely meant for like speed running. But he tried that. It was a little hard. I'm really hoping like I'll be able to get games, and as he gets older, there'll be more options. But I really want to get games that he'll be able to play and enjoy, because then I could be like, look what Daddy helped make, and then it's like it's yours now. So that's one of I would say my personal goals is like, I definitely I would love to get like kid-friendly games as well, and like help bring new gamers in, enjoying the system and just gaming in general.
That's always nice to do and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember my first video game that was like my all-time favorite when I was little was Mickey's Letter Hunt, where you couldn't die no matter what you did, and all you just did
Yep.
was run around, platform everywhere, getting letters.
Yep.
Used to play it for hours with my dad.
That's awesome. Yeah, and those games were meant for us at that time, and then you hold like that nostalgia to them growing up. But yeah, it's fun like watching, like seeing what's gonna be his favorite games as he grows up, and like what does he remember playing? What's the game that he's always gonna go back to? Because it's gonna change over the years, but I mean Mario's just taken over like everything he ever enjoyed. He used to watch PJ Masks, and I was always hoping that there would be like a video game for that, and there never was. My youngest watches Muppet Babies, and I'm like, oh, I'd love it if there was a Muppet Babies game. Yeah, it's fun watching what he's getting excited for. And the fact now that there's games that are coming out, like 3D World wasn't out yet, and it's a game that we're both anticipating. And if there wasn't COVID, like we'd both be at the store, like on release day, so we could grab it and he could hold it, in the car, as opposed to like, Amazon's here, like let's go get the box. But it's fun now that he's aware of gaming, so now I can let him know what's coming out, and it's something to look forward to, down the line.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Man, you gave me a lot of ideas for how to help get my son into it too. I mean,
yeah, it's fine. I highly recommend look up Outright Games. So if you're gonna use the Switch, I mean, they released their games on every console, but they did like the recent Transformers game. They worked on that one, which is more like strategy based. But if you look up Outright Games and you see all their kid titles, they're all appropriate, and I definitely would recommend Paw Patrol. I just think it's such an easy one, especially if they watch the show. But even if they don't, it's just a simple platformer that's fun for them that they can do. And then, it just kind of builds up that confidence, and then it makes them go, oh, what else is there to play? And they have unlockables in the game, so there's like replay value. So yeah, I highly recommend that as like an early entry one. And then Mario Kart with the like the bumper thing turned on so you can't fall off. He really liked that because, he'd be racing, and normally where you'd fall off and just have to restart, he's just like, look how good I am. And he's like, hugging the rail, but he's going. And I'm like, I like those accessibility options. Like, I think they're great. And it's nice when they include them for younger gamers and me when, inexperienced gamers too. So
you're a collector. You make games. You play with the kids. Are there any games you and your wife play together, or is it just pretty much Animal Crossing?
Yeah, I actually still have a tent in Animal Crossing. I never even got the house yet. I mean, that's how little I played. She tried to get me into it. So we got it day one. She started playing it with her sister, and they were like, "Oh, play it. Make your island. You can come hang out with us." And it took me forever. And then finally, like, it was a Friday night. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I started my character, spent all that time, decided on the fruit, all that, decided on the island, all that stuff. I'm still in the tent. I have my little Switch and a cot, and that's all. And I don't know. There's something about Animal Crossing, as great as the game is. It's just, for some reason, it's not for me. I just can't get into it. And I think I'm intimidated by it because there's no end to it. Like, I need a game that I know I could finish, or it's not something that I constantly have to keep updated with, because, like, Animal Crossing, there are always new updates, there's new themes, there's new, like, limited time events, and, like, it's different than, like, a Burnout game or Rocket League, where it's just, you just have to play and you can always race. I get very intimidated when there's a game that just doesn't end and it could go on forever, because I'm like, I need to know I could finish it at some point. Otherwise, why am I investing all this time in it? And then I stop, and then everyone kind of keeps progressing without me. But that was her game. Like, I say she's not a gamer, but I look at her Switch and she's put in hundreds and hundreds of hours into Animal Crossing, and she's absolutely a gamer. Like, I'm not going to say she's not. Now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah, for as much time as she's put into that, I put in so little, and it's just not one that I got into. And then I always try and find games that I think would be good for both of us, and then we just end up so busy that we just don't play any games together. But one day I'm gonna find the perfect one that we could just go through together. Like, it's funny, when the Switch first came out, Snipper Clips, I had downloaded it, and we played that together for a little bit, and that was fun because it's kind of like, trying to work together, but then you snip the other person and have some fun with that. But then after that, we kind of just went our own ways, and we'll just both be on the couch playing our own games. But now I gotta probably find the game that we both can play.
Thank you, gamers, for joining us for this conversation. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe so you can see more of this interview and others like it. Have a good one, you guys.